Hi classmates, this is my leadership showcase. Sorry I cannot make up for today's presentation, but I hope you would like it. PoliCheck by Van Eisen. Oil prices are high. Tuition fee keeps on increasing. Unemployment is rising. Poverty is rampant. Who do we blame? It is no one but the government. There's only one institution to blame for all the societal issues that we are experiencing. It is the government. Blame the government, that is the battle cry by many. But does anybody ever realize that it's not only the government's fault? Probably we're part of it. Our country is run by a government. Our government is run by officials. Officials are then elected by the electorate. Thus, it is easy to assume that the country reflects the electorate. Why do we constantly blame the government when we are the very people that elected them into office? Shouldn't we blame ourselves for allowing them to use our taxes and our hard-earned money into waste? I envision a country with a high-quality, result-driven government. It is run by capable officials voted by a mature and strong electorate. What is a mature electorate? A mature electorate is a community of well-informed voters. These are voters that make sound decisions based on the information available to them. They discern and think hard on who to vote come election time. Making decisions is easy if we have the right access to this information. Sadly, not everyone has access to them. That is why some politicians take advantage of this and put themselves into office. During the May 2013 elections, I personally have a hard time choosing who should I vote as a senator. I should vote for senators who could come up with legislations that will enable development in our country, legislations and laws and bills that will answer societal issues in our country today. How do I know if Nancy Binay is up for the job when she didn't attend any debate or choose not to speak her mind about issues that is hunting us? How about Alan Peter Cayetano? Was he sincere in addressing pitik, the presyo, trabaho, and kita? How does he hope to address it back in the Senate? And of course, Grace Poe, who ended up as #1 senator for the recently concluded election. Did she choose to run to serve us, or did she just run in order to make a point that his late father should have been the rightful president? During campaign season, these candidates left us with so many promises. They promised that they can lift us from poverty. They also promised that there is progress in Daang Matuwid. The mayor promised to create hundreds of schools, while Congressman said he will create thousands and thousands of kilometers of roads. The electorate is wowed by every promise of hope, progress, and a brighter future ahead of us. They get elected. They assume office, and then 3 years will pass, then election is up again. Then we hear them back. We see these officials chanting the same promises over and over and over again. Is there anybody that monitors these promises? Do we hear anybody that checks and balances these promises? I did my research, and sadly the answer is none. Every election, we should think like HR recruiters, wherein we hire the best person for the best position in the land. This is my call, to come up with a platform, a forum, a venue, wherein people could get access to the information they need in order to cast that very important vote. And this could be achieved by PoliCheck. Promises versus performance equals PoliCheck. PoliCheck is a blog that 1. enumerate the campaign promises made by the said official. 2. It tracks and monitors the official's performance. 3. We then present the comparison between the promises and performance to the electorate for them to PoliCheck. Example: Mayor Juan de la Cruz promised, he said he will build 10 schools, 5 hospitals, and 100 kilometers of road. He also promised to decrease poverty from 20% to 10%, and also lower unemployment rate from 15 to 5%. 3 years has passed and then his performance was checked. After his term, he was able to build 20 schools, 2 hospitals, and 20 kilometers of road. The poverty line is up to 25%, and sadly, at the end of his term, the unemployment rate is at 30%. Then, we PoliCheck. We compare the performance versus the promises made by Mayor Juan de la Cruz. At the end of his term, he was able to build 20 schools out of 10. He ended up with 2 hospitals out of 5, and 20 kilometers of road were built out of the 100 kilometers he promised back in 2013. Sadly, he ended up with a poverty rate at 25%, which is 5% higher than the 20% poverty line in 2013. Lastly, the unemployment rate doubled than the 15% he started with. With this in mind, would you still vote for Mayor Juan de la Cruz in the up-and-coming election? I did email this PoliCheck to my classmates, and the results are in. 82% will likely not vote for Mayor Juan de la Cruz again in the next election. Miles J. Zaremski, an author in the Huffington Post, posted last October 24, 2008 in the middle of US presidential elections an article entitled "Elected Officials Reflect the Electorate." He said, "Casting our vote should be based on the skills, ability, and know-how of the candidates. If we elect officials who have nothing more to offer in the closing days of a campaign than deceit and deception, then we are no better off than, let's say, a person who smokes many packs of cigarettes a day for many years, then develops lung cancer, and then ends up blaming it on other people than his own acts or omissions. It is high time to be proactive about our country. It is high time to admit we put these officials in power. It is high time to bring back the power to the people. It is high time to PoliCheck." Our country is run by a government. Our government is run by officials. Officials are then elected by the electorate. Thus, it is easy to assume that the country reflects the electorate. The country's progress or downfall lies on its electorate. It lies on you, it lies on me, it lies on us. This is the beauty of PoliCheck, wherein we would be able to come up with information and comparison that will enable voters to think very hard if they want to vote for this mayor again. I hope with PoliCheck we would be able to think hard and decipher and come up with a sound decision in the upcoming elections. This is my contribution. This is PoliCheck. Join PoliCheck today and see where the country moves on.